I founded 7C back in 2019. Gaming as fun to gaming as professional. We got in fourth position around South Asia at the time. Government recognizes this as an opportunity for them to get involved at an international stage. It is more focused on what we want to do hyper locally in India. So I came down to put ourselves in the map here. So when I started, I really don't. I just for me, the one thing is that I want to represent India. Whatever the vision you have, you need to have persistence to reach that small goals to get to that grander vision. In order to complement esports, we need a lot of entertainment segments. So there will be many titles that we will be competing in the next 5 years.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here with us today. And firstly, my question would be, as an entrepreneur, what is your biggest challenge and how you're tackling all these companies that you have? So tell us all about Seven Seas Esports and what do you exactly do?
I founded 7C back in 2019. I was looking at an opportunity where how gaming can be influential in South Asia region, right? So I was in 2019. I was living in Thailand. I was working as a senior program manager for one of the Fortune 500 companies over there, and then after work, I usually love to play the games, and I was came across a game called PUBG Mobile, and I met few gamers just to be just online, and they were very passionate about the game, and financially I'm very well secured. So I asked them, hey guys, what exactly you want to do? You know what? There is this competition, and we want to compete ourselves, and we want to make big and make name for our country. So looking at them, I was like, sure. So what are the biggest challenges that you guys are facing today? And these guys are young kids, probably 18, 19 years of age, or maybe around 20, right? And their biggest challenge is about having a proper device and proper internet connection. So, okay, so if I can solve these problems for you, do you think you can get to the top spot? I was like, yeah, but sure, why not? So I was like, I started investing on these guys because I looked at their game when I was playing with them, and they're pretty good, right? So they are at the top notch. So I have given them the financial freedom. I have provided them with whatever the requirements that these kids have at the time, and then yeah, we got in fourth position around South Asia at the time, and looking at it, okay, so there is an opportunity, and even people love to do in competitive gaming. So I know before that also I know that there is competitive gaming, but I never really experienced it because of PUBG Mobile and because of me meeting those people online. It made me possible today.
When you talk about all these experiences of yours in esports and all, so is this internationally or do you have some presence in India as well?
Um, so, um, so 7C, when we are envisioning the brand today, we want to be very hyper local. The reason being is that we want to cater the audience of India today. India is a very vast market, right? The Gen Z and the Gen Alpha audience are too big, and they are consuming a lot of content online, which is like on YouTube or Instagram, right? So we are just keeping ourselves relevant to the market today. So our parent company, which is Amphverse Group, they operate all across South Asia region, and it's that's how we are called a portfolio company.
Okay. So I'm just wondering, when you do market for esports, I mean, India में इसका कितना different kinds of ambitious people है नहीं है? I mean,
Mhm.
people actually love it. Do they really want to do it or not? Or is it internationally more popular?
See, again, see, India is still nascent, right? So let's talk about right in 1970s or in 1980s, right? How software is actually developing, and when you look at that age, right? So software, we are just developing small softwares at the time. How popular software became today, right? In our daily life, it is really necessary, whether we know it or we don't know it, right? One way or the other, we are using one particular software, whether it is on our systems or even in our mobile phones, like that. When internet became internet became very popular, right? Where everybody gets connected with each other, right? So even gaming has evolved from an individual gaming perspective to multiplayer gaming perspective, and play online with people that you don't know, and you make friends with them, right? So there is an evolution for gaming itself, and using that, right, it gets more opportunity for people to get involved into gaming on a daily basis. They cannot be just a casual gamers, they just play for fun, right? From gaming as fun to gaming as professional, it's a journey, right? Because they understood the game mechanics, and that they are deep diving into it, right?
Right.
You play cricket, like in gully also, like in our childhood we play cricket in gully cricket or street cricket, right? But some people only take it very seriously, where they want to get to the next stage and the next stage, right? So the gaming has the same evolution.
When we talk about esports and e-gaming, what do you think is the basic difference between it for in layman terms?
Well, e-gaming means you are basically connected with multiple audience across the globe, right? It would be, it would be just a game that has an online feature we can play with multiple people, or you as a streamer streaming it for multiple people about any game that you are playing. Whereas esports is basically like professional athletes that they compete against some of the best teams, either in the region or in the country or globally.
Okay. So, do you think the government gives any kind of support to people who are into the esports industry? Because we see that sports industry to milta hai support government se. They have different kinds of leeways and other
Mhm.
things, funding and everything that is given, right? लेकिन esports में government की तरफ से कुछ भी support मिलता है as such या फिर it is just like that?
See, for everything there is a start, right? Even let's put it like this: when a game gets or a certain attraction, that's when government recognizes this as an opportunity for them to get involved at an international stage, right? Even today, there are so many people who are trying to get the support of the government, right? I think we will do it. It's just a matter of time for the government to recognize this. If you look at this year's budget, right, the government has given an opportunity for the ABCD sector to grow, because they already understood the trends that this sector is growing, right? And that includes gaming as well, right? It takes baby steps, but we are on the right track.
So, shifting our focus from esports and e-gaming to you as such as an entrepreneur, I would
Sure.
like to know more about your journey. How do you do a good work-life balance? How does your typical day look like?
Right. So I was actually, as I told you, I was working in one of the Fortune 500 companies at the time. So typically morning 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock, I used to work in the company, and from 6 o'clock to night two, sometimes three, sometimes sleepless night. That's how I started Seven Seas Sports. Right. But today it is more focused on what we want to do hyper locally in India. Right. When we got the investment from Amphers Group, they first told me that, look, I understand the passion, but we want you to run this in India, not sitting in Bangkok or Thailand. So I understood that, because we raised our few million US dollars, right? I made the decision. Okay, so I'll quit my job. I'm going to come down to India. I'm going to set up this business very properly, and then yeah. So I came down to put ourselves in the map here, right? Came down to Pune, started a gaming house. Now we are trying to expand ourselves into a new office location, where it could be our commercial address for us, for any of the people out there to reach us. Before 12 o'clock, most of my meetings generally gets finished, right? Very, very important meetings which I want, I like to schedule it very early in the morning, because I believe I can focus on those meetings, like whether it would be anything related to finance or anything related to business decisions. Usually that 8 to 12 is my time that I want to take my most important decisions, right? And from 1 o'clock to evening 6, it is spending time with the esports athletes, looking at their training, looking at their how their performance is going, and also like looking at the data sheets, right? How we are providing uh, content, that people are consuming, and brainstorming ideas with other sets of teams, right? So like for example, with media team, or with brand team, or with marketing and sales, just to try to understand where we are going and what we want to achieve. So these kind of things I will schedule it for the later of the day. And at night again, I would play with the players as well, just to make sure that how things are actually going. So typically from 8 to 8 is a very busy day for me. And
Okay.
after that, I have my family time.
Okay. Okay. No complaints on that part. I mean, a 12-hour day is pretty long.
Um, I think if we love being an entrepreneur, if you love what you're actually doing, I don't think that there will be complaints. Yeah, there are here and there are some days that you are stressed out or you are burned out. But usually I take a 1 day or 2 day quick break, recoup myself, and again get come back to action.
Okay. And so tell me, Mandy, which three habits do you think every entrepreneur should have?
I think the first thing is that you need to have a goal, or we call it as a vision, that it is very hard to achieve, right? So if your goal is too small, um, then I don't think we have that like of a grander vision. So when I started, I really don't. I just, for me, the one thing is that I want to represent India, right? But after talking to a lot of people, a lot of investors, my portfolio was my goal is becoming bigger and bigger, that it is very hard for me to reach there, right? So that means the first thing, a good vision to run the company, and a good vision to achieve something in your life, right? So that's the first thing. And second thing, persistence, right? You need to be very persistent in what you want to do, right? Otherwise it gets very difficult, right? You cannot just change, today I'm like this, tomorrow I'm like this, right? But you need to keep persisting on your, for the vision, whatever the vision you have, you need to have persistence to reach that small goals to get to that grander vision.
Absolutely. Agreed. So I'll ask you my last question. Where
Sure.
do you see esports or e-gaming as a complete industry in the next 5 years? And where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
As I said in the beginning, right? So we are an esports and an entertainment company, right? So we are not just looking to expand ourselves in esports, but esports would always a primary component. But in order to complement esports, we need a lot of entertainment segments, right? That means getting into entertaining fans. That means we need brand ambassadors, we need content creators, and we need brands sponsorships to support all these things, right? That's how we build the revenue for the company, right? So esports is basically the entry point for us. So there will be many titles that we will be competing in the next 5 years. But at the same time, it would also develop opportunities for people to work with us in multiple segments today, and in the next 5 years maybe that would go to 100 or even more, right? So we are just focused on what we want to do and how we can complement gaming with other genre of industries. For example, music, for example, getting into lifestyle, for example, getting into creating an academy, like education systems. So next 5 years, yeah, it is pretty good, right? I know it is still an uncharted territory for us, but I'm sure with the achievements and success what we have today, I think I can do better and I can do more, and I will have more knowledge in what I want to do. And there are so many sectors that can connect to gaming, right? Today, if you look at it, cricketers, some of our international cricketers, they're actually coming down and playing with some of the big streamers.
I would like to say thank you so much for being here with us today at Sports Digest. And I'm very sure our audience is going to love all the information that you have shared.